in order to support SmartFusion2, Igloo 2, or any of the third generation flash parts, you need what we call Libero SoC. And Libero SoC can be downloaded from the Microsemi website. If you go out to Microsemi.com, check on FPGA and SoC, and then look under Design Resources, you'll see Libero SoC. You can come out here to the Downloads tab, and you can download the software. So we have the Libero SoC. Now there's Libero SoC 11.5 is the latest version. There's also a Service Pack 3. So up here you're seeing the Service Pack. We support either Windows or Linux. So this is the Service Pack download. A little further down you'd be able to get the 11.5 software download. And we also have this free software to develop your C applications if you're running a SmartFusion or SmartFusion2 design. It's called Soft Console. Soft Console can install with Libero, but there's a service pack for Soft Console that you need to install separately, and you can download that from the website as well if you search on Soft Console. So you can download these files, and you can see them right here. This top file is the Libero SoC 11.5 install. And then we have the middle file here is actually the install. It's the web install, so it's a smaller install on the computer, but requires connection to the internet. You can also download the full install if you want, although it's quite a bit bigger. The top file was the Service Pack 3, and then the file here is Soft Console 3.4 Service Pack 1. Soft Console 3.4 is the latest version of that tool. So after you've downloaded the install software, you're gonna click and you're gonna execute, and it's going to bring up a number of screenshots. One of your first screenshots is shown here. This screenshot is going to let you choose what you want to install. You can install Libero SoC with all of the third-party tools I mentioned, Simplify Pro and the Mentor Graphics Model Sim Simulator. We also have what we call a standalone edition. The standalone edition includes all the Microsemi tools, but none of the third-party tools. And it's intended for people that already have access to maybe a synthesis tool or a simulation tool, maybe the tools that are included in Libero, or maybe some other tools that we mentioned earlier. So you make your choice here. You're going to say next, and then of course you're going to have to read the license agreement and agree to it. And then after you've done that, you're going to pick where you want to install the software. And after you've picked your location, then you're going to have the choice to install different features. This is where you can choose different tools you want to install. Simplify Pro, for example, Soft Console we mentioned that you can use to develop your C applications. Now, we also provide another tool in the install. It's called Symphony Model Compiler. Symphony Model Compiler is a tool that's used with the MathWorks tools, the MATLAB and the Simulink tools for doing DSP designs. It's really only included with the Libero install as a convenience. It's a tool that is launched from the MathWorks tools. So if you don't have access to the MathWorks tools, it really doesn't give you any, there's no real incentive for you to install it. If you do have the MathWorks tools, it does a very good job of creating an optimized netlist for DSP type of functions that you can implement in SmartFusion2 or Igloo 2. And you can get a license for free.
Could you go into a little bit more detail about the application of DSP for that particular tool?
Well, where that tool fits in is there's a library of functions that get mapped into the MathWorks tools. And you define the algorithm that you want to do, maybe a filtering or an FFT or some other types of applications. You can use the library of functions that are provided, like codec functions and things. And you would simulate your design using the simulink tools. And then ultimately, you're going to create a netlist that you could import into your Libero project. And Symphony Model Compiler optimizes the netlist that's originally created by the MathWorks tools. And it really does a very good job of optimizing so that you get the best results you can when you're using SmartFusion2. But again, the issue with the Symphony Model Compiler, it has to be used with the MathWorks tools. So if you don't have the MathWorks tools, there's really no point in installing it. Identify is another synopsis tool. It's a debug tool that you can use to add additional logic to your design. It actually allows you to identify signals that you want to be able to observe and signals you want to trigger on, and it puts kind of a little in-circuit emulator inside your design. And after you've programmed the part, you can use the identify debugger, and you can set trigger conditions, and you can view internal signals in a waveform viewer. Then down below here we have the ModelSim ME simulator. So if you're going to use the simulator that comes with ModelSim, you would check it. Use the simulator that comes with Libero, you're going to check that. And below that, you're going to see a number of families listed. One of the restrictions with the ModelSim ME simulator is that you have to use pre-compiled libraries. So these are pre-compiled simulation libraries for all of the families that are supported by Libero SoC. The reason for that restriction is simply to prevent somebody from downloading Libero and then only using the simulator and not simulating and targeting Microsemi devices, because Microsemi is paying royalties to Mentor Graphics. So Mentor doesn't want somebody to be able to get their tools and use their tools for free. So what would happen is, if you were to do that, try to use the simulator, but use it for a different technology than any of these families, and you would map in the library for those families, it would see that it doesn't have the stamp that they put on these libraries, and it wouldn't allow you to run the simulation. So it's just a protection thing for Mentor. So once you've gone through and made your choices and you say next, then it's going to go through the installation process. And then when you're finished, it will ask you if you want to request a license. And if you say yes, you'll go out to the licensing page, and you would either put in your disk volume serial number if you're going to license your license to the disk ID in your PC, or you would put in your Ethernet MAC address if you had a floating license, and then you'll get an email that's sent back to you that has the license file attached. So once you've finished installing Libero, you can go out to the Start menu and you can kind of verify what you've installed by going under the Libero 11.5 product group, program group, and selecting about your installation. And this configuration file will open. It will show you the version of the software you've installed. It will show you all the tools you installed, the HDL languages, and it will also show the libraries that you installed. And here I installed several of the 3rd generation Flash family libraries, as well as SmartFusion2 and Igloo2. And then at the very bottom here, it will show you your disk volume serial number, and that number would be used if you were going to license your software to the disk ID in your PC. So that's very, very useful. You can copy and paste that into the license request form. You can also go to the license request form if you go back under the Libero program group and open the Microsemi license utility. This will open up. There's a link where you can go to select your license. You can click right here, request license on the web. And when you click that, it's going to take you to the Microsemi SoC portal. And you need to have an SoC portal account in order to get a license. If you don't have an account, you can click up here on My Microsemi, and then you see SoC portal. So click on that, and then say New User. That will allow you to register as a user. And then once you've done that, you go to the license page, and it will ask you to log in. And once you've logged in, then you can request the appropriate license, either the free license, if you're using any of the families that are supported by the free license, or if you have a purchased license, then you would enter the software ID that you get when you place your order, and you would get your purchase license. Once you get your license, you can go back to the licensed utility, and you can add a license. So you'll get an email with a license. The license is going to be a file that's named license.dat, and we recommend you save it in a folder called FlexLM on your C drive. So you can go in and you could search for the license file, save it out there, select it, and then close it, and then you would see your licenses that have been installed will show up in the license wizard here. So here you can see that I got my license, the license.dat file. I saved it in the FlexLM folder, and added the license file. And now you can see it up here. And in this field, it will tell you what type of license you have, either platinum or gold. In the license file itself, it will use different terms. So in parentheses is what you'll see in the license file. The platinum license says Actel Summit. The gold license says Actel Vista. And they'll tell you when it expires. It will also tell you your host ID over here in this field, so you can always verify that if you should have your license not working. One of the issues customers sometimes run into is they might have a typo when they enter the disk volume serial number, and then the license is generated and it doesn't match what's actually on the PC. So if your license should come up and it doesn't run, that's always a good thing to check.
So the last step after you get your license is to save it, and we recommend that people create a folder named FlexLM on their C drive and save the license.dat file in that folder, and then you have to create or edit an environmental variable. So you can open up the properties and go to the advanced system settings and choose environmental variables. And if you have an existing license.dat environmental variable, if you have the existing LM license file variable, you can append the path to your license.dat file to that variable, because other software uses that same variable. If you don't have that variable, you would say new, and in the new dialog box you would enter LM license file, and then you would enter the path to the license file, which is C FlexLM and then license.dat. And once you've done that and you say OK, you should be all set and you can launch the Libero software.